Over to Mike. How are we doing, Mike?
Doing good, thank you. Hi, everybody. A couple of things I wanted to follow on from that Roger mentioned, and that was
Mike's in France, sorry. Go on, Mike, sorry.
Okay. Things that are happening, really quite significant things are happening in China. This last year, 3 banks have gone bust. In China, it doesn't mean to say they fold. What happens is they go into the ownership of the country. So they become like a nationalized. And it's been, the regulator in China has forecast this happening for some time now, but that's just the tip of the iceberg, really. We're looking at a downturn of something like 1.7 trillions worth of losses, according to the French investment bank, Société Générale. And they're saying that about 80% of the capital in the China banks is under pressure because of the debt bloating. And it's unprofitable state-owned enterprises that are causing most of the issues. You know, in certain countries that aren't capitalized or capitalistic styles of countries, they tend to employ people and pay them more than they're actually making for the business. China could lose as much of half of its banking capital as this crisis ensues. It's interesting where their losses are, though, but it's definitely down to peer-to-peer lending. Investors running wild in China currently. And of course, the fact that China keeps getting whacked by Trump and his attempts to stop them importing into America as much as they did. So 3 banks nationalized by the government, quite an interesting figure. The other thing I wanted to follow on from that, it's not just China. The regulator in America shut down 5 more banks this year. In total, in America, 89 failures in banking in America. Now, it sounds like doom and gloom. In reality, what's happening, it's the type of lending that's been done. And the FDIC reckons that about, they reckon that this is now the worst downturn since 1998. The FDIC insures amounts for depositors up to $250,000 US. For larger amounts, they still haven't figured out what they're doing yet, but hopefully by the end of today in America, they'll have it on their website. But the fact that they're increasing their insurable liability is a clear indicator they've got trouble. 89 banks have already gone. So they've now introduced the guarantee scheme, a lot like that in Europe. But what's interesting too, in the first quarter, the FDIC confirmed the problem list jumped from 416 to the end of June from 305 in the first quarter. And it's the highest number since 1994, the savings and loan crisis. The monthly bank guarantee has become the second largest failure in the banking world in America. And they've just sold a $1 billion loss to the government, to a major Spanish bank. So it's the 10th largest in the US history, and it's expected to cost the insurance fund an estimated $3 billion US. Why is this relevant to us when we're talking about cryptocurrency? Well, in reality, what we're looking at is the change that's happening to the world and how we manage our financial matters. Normally, you'll hear me talking about the economic downturn. I have a bit of good news, and this is quite interesting. Al Jazeera have published a little piece titled "Bye-Bye Recession, Turkey's Economy Returns to Growth." It has returned to growth, but it's very minor. So it's amazing what happens. Not all of the economies are in a downturn, but to get Turkey back on growth is a good sign. The other thing that's quite interesting is that the Chinese firms are buying Colombian gold mine, which is a huge risk. A gold mine in this particular gold mine in Colombia had people killed every single month last year. And there were 4 employees for the Canadian mining company, Continental Gold, killed every single month last year. It's a huge risk to life and limb out there. But that's the nature of the animal. So what else is going on? Italy had a bailout, you might remember, not too long ago, and Conte wants to contest the Eurozone's bailout fund reform. They're actually asking him to pay some back now. So that could be interesting to see how that goes. Debt's a huge concern. The US manufacturing slowdown really has hit growth. Commercial properties are the key area that are causing the banks to go into their downturn. It's the businesses have contracted. I know in America, everybody thinks they're booming, but believe you me, they're not. All the economists are pointing to a huge, huge downturn in the economy, and America isn't going to avoid it. I want to mention one thing. This is a piece that came out recently from the BBC. Android spoofing bug helps target bank accounts. If you're using an Android system, you should really look at the links. Over 300 banks have been hit with this particular link. So just be aware when you're using Android systems and check that you've got the correct security and always update your file. That's me concluding the banking and financial news, but I do want to follow on from something that Joan mentioned. In reality, the ecosystem that we have with a Deal Shaker platform and the coin itself, we're in a very fortunate position. There aren't many companies in the digital world, in the digital economy, that have a platform as we do. And the key for us and the long-term security for the business is to develop the Deal Shaker platform, to bring new merchants on, to encourage the merchants that are on by buying the product. And I am quite amazed the number of people who talk to me and say, yeah, I've not bought anything on the Deal Shaker platform. It really is a terrible waste when you've encouraged people to bring their businesses to the platform, not to take advantage of that. And I encourage everybody to shop first on the Deal Shaker platform and encourage other businesses to come on board. That's me off my platform for another week, Roger. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity.
Thank you very much, Mike. Superb update. Thanks a lot. I just wanted to say thank you to everyone that's been on the panel, and thank you for all your news. Great updates. I wanted to say thank you to everyone that's come on Facebook. Thank you to everyone that's in the attendees as well. And it's good night from all of us. Right, I'm just going to stop the Facebook